Magandang buhay mga bata! Tara, samahan ninyo akong matuto kasama si
Teacher Aika, your online teacher. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell for more videos. Thank you! Matatag Curriculum, Science Grade 4, Quarter 3, Lesson 2. Our topic for today is about force exerted by a magnet and properties of a magnet. This is Teacher Aika, your online teacher. Let's start! Learning competency. First, the learners identify examples of how objects can affect other objects even when they are not in contact with each other, such as magnets attracting other objects. Second, the learners carry out guided investigations to identify the properties of magnets, including how they affect other magnets and objects made of different materials. Objectives. First, identify common magnetic materials. Example, iron, steel, nickel, and non-magnetic materials. Second, recognize that magnets' opposite poles attract while like poles repel. Third, identify and describe key properties of magnets such as polarity, strength, and the ability to attract certain objects. Day 1. Let us have first a short review. Instruct the students to think about the following questions and make individual written responses in their science notebooks. After writing their responses, they will share their answers with their seatmates. First, when force is applied, does it always require contact between the two objects involved? Second, is it possible for us to push or pull an object without touching it? Explain your answer. Letter A, Activity 1, Self-Assessment. Read the learning targets. Rate yourself in the Before Learning the Lesson column, and we'll revisit this after the lesson to check your progress. 1 star if I still need help to do this. 2 stars if I can do this by myself. 3 stars, I can do this by myself and in different ways. Here are the learning targets. First, I can identify how magnets affects other objects. Second, I can identify common magnetic materials. Example, iron, steel, nickel, and non-magnetic materials. Third, I can recognize that magnets' opposite poles attract while like poles repel. And fourth, I can identify and describe key properties of magnets such as polarity, strength, and the ability to attract certain objects. Unlocking Content Area Vocabulary. Instructions. Using your homework, define the following terms. For the part 1, here are the terms. First, magnets. Second, repel. Third, attract. Fourth, demagnetization. For the part 2, let's answer. Magnets. A magnet is a natural rock or a metal object capable of attracting specific types of metal towards it. Next, repel. To force something to move away. Third, attract. To pull something toward another thing. And last, demagnetization, the reduction of complete removal of materials' magnetic properties. Let's think about this. You can push or pull something without even touching it. Let's have some fun fact. Did you know that the Earth is a large magnet? The Earth possesses a magnetic north and magnetic south, with invisible lines of magnetic force extending from the north to the south. Let's talk about magnets. Here are some questions to get us started. First, do you have an object with you right now or at home that has a magnet? What is it used for? Second, how about a magnet affects other objects? Third, what kinds of objects are attracted to a magnet? What will you know? Activity number 2, Anticipation Reaction Guide. Below are statements about magnet. On the column before the statements, put a check mark if you agree with the statement and an X if otherwise. Do not answer the column after the statements. Let's have number 1. All metals are attracted to magnets. The answer is X. Number 2. Magnets can lose their magnetic properties over time. The answer is check. Number 3. Plastic and glass are attracted to magnets. The answer is X. Number 4. You can cut a magnet in half to create 2 separate magnets. The answer is check. Number 5. Magnets have a single pole either north or south. The answer is X. Magnets have north and south poles, can attract certain materials like iron and repel when like poles are pushed together. Force can be exerted without touching an object like the force exerted by a magnet. Magnets can attract materials made of iron, nickel, and cobalt. Materials that do not contain these metals are non-magnetic like wood, plastic, cloth, etc. The strength of magnets varies. Its strength is determined based on its size and the number of its tiny magnets, magnetic domains, that are aligned. Magnets have 2 poles, the north or N and the south poles or S. Similar poles repel while opposite poles attract. Magnets can lose their magnetism over time, which is called demagnetization. However, this process typically occurs very slowly, and in many cases, magnets can retain their magnetic properties for years or even decades without significant loss. The rate of demagnetization depends on various factors, including the material composition of the magnet, exposure to high temperatures, physical damage, and exposure to strong external magnetic fields. If you cut a permanent magnet in half along its axis, each half will typically retain its magnetic properties and behave as a smaller magnet. However, the strength of each resulting magnet may be slightly weaker than the original due to the cutting process and potentially damage to the material. Many objects used in our daily lives contain magnets, like speakers, cell phones, magnetic locks of bags and wallets, and refrigerator magnets, among others. Day 2. Activity number 3. Reading a story. Magnet Max. There was once a boy named Magnet Max who wanted to test what magnets attract. He loved to explore with objects galore to see what kinds of things would react. One sunny day, Magnet Max went to play at Nick's house. Nick did not know this great find. Max showed him the habit of his wonderful magnet. Watching it work blew Nick's mind. Wow! Nick yelled. That's well. The magnet's powers gave him a thrill. Magnet Max made no reply. With a wink of an eye, he made his magnet attract at his will. Nick leapt up with glee at the magic. You see? And asked, how do you get them to stick? Magnets give off a magnetic field. Max replied, they stick to anything like iron or steel real quick. If you please, even nickel and cobalt can be attracted with ease. There are so many possibilities. These are metals that can be part of many things, such as rings, and being magnetic is key. So, on that day, the boys decided to play by searching for things they could find. They looked for metal objects all about, in and out, and found many items. A paper clip, the refrigerator, a nail, and a bolt were attracted to the magnets with force. Nick exclaimed, goodness sakes! I'm amazed at the magic it makes. Can we get it to stick to a horse? But a shoe, a ball, a plant, and a doll could not stick to the magnet. Of course, these items are not magnetic or kinetic, said Max. They don't have the special force. The day had gone by as they searched far and wide in the house for more objects to test. They heard Nick's mom call from away down the hall. Max, your mom says it's time to go rest. Max and Nick said, oh man. We've just begun. We aren't done. We were just about to test out a comb. They both looked at the magic, wanting more to explore. It was time for Max to go home. Then Max said, how about we hang out tomorrow and we can continue our play? As Nick walked home, he thought of what they suggested and tested and how fun it was to explore today. Max wanted to share his tool. That's so cool, so other kids could feel the same joy. He lay down in bed to relax. Then, closing his eyes, he dreamed of how wise he would be as the explorer magnet Max. Here are the guide questions. Number 1, who are the characters? What did they do to magnets? Number 2, how do magnets affect other objects? Number 3, what kinds of objects are attracted to a magnet? Let's answer. Number 1, who are the characters? What did they do to magnets? The answer, the characters are Max and Nick. They used magnets to explore and test which objects are attracted to magnets. Number 2, how do magnets affect other objects? The answer, magnets attract certain materials like iron, steel, nickel, and cobalt, but they don't stick to non-magnetic objects like plastic or wood. Number 3, what kinds of objects are attracted to a magnet? The answer, objects made of iron, steel, nickel, and cobalt, such as a paper clip, a refrigerator, a nail, and a bolt, are attracted to magnets. Magnets are special objects that have some cool properties. First, polarity, the north and south poles. Magnets have two sides called poles. One is the North Pole and the other is the South Pole. If you bring two magnets close together, opposite pole, the North and South, will stick to each other. But the same poles, North and North, or South, will push away from each other. Second is the strength. Some magnets are stronger than others. A stronger magnet can pick up heavier things, while a weaker magnet can only attract lighter things. A magnet's strength can change if it gets damaged or too hot. Third is attracting things without touching. One of the coolest things about magnets is that they can pull things like iron, steel, nickel, and cobalt even if the magnet is not touching them. Magnets have an invisible force around them called a magnetic field that can pull these materials from a distance. Activity number 4, will it attract? Today, we will talk about magnetism and how magnets can attract certain materials. Magnetism is the force that pulls some objects towards a magnet. Not everything is attracted to a magnet. Only certain materials like iron, steel, nickel, and cobalt. Other things like plastic, wood, or rubber are not attracted to magnets because they don't have the right materials inside. In this activity, you will look at pictures of different objects and decide which ones a magnet will attract. You will then draw a line from the magnet to the object it can attract. Here are the pictures. So we have colors, paper clip, pencil, paper, chair, nail, key, and eraser. So here are the guide questions to answer. First, which objects are attracted to the magnet and why? Second, which objects are not attracted to the magnet and why? Let's answer. First, which objects are attracted to the magnet and why? The answer, paper clip, keys, and nail are attracted to the magnet. These objects are made of materials like iron or steel, which are magnetic, so the magnet can pull them. Next, which objects are not attracted to the magnet and why? The answer, crayons, pencil, eraser, paper, and chair are not attracted to the magnet. These objects are made from materials like wood, plastic, or paper, which do not contain the metals that magnets can attract. Day 3. Let's go on a magnet treasure hunt. In this activity, you will explore the classroom or another area to find objects that a magnet will attract you. You will look for things made of iron, steel, nickel, or cobalt, materials that magnets can pull. Your job is to spot these objects and see how many you can find. Be sure to check carefully because some items might look ordinary but can still be magnetic. Let's see how many magnetic treasures you can discover. Activity number 5, Magnet Treasure Hunt, magnetic or non-magnetic. First, divide the students into small groups or pairs and provide each group with a bar magnet or any available magnet, a container of objects, and a worksheet for recording observations. Second, instruct the students to use the magnet to explore the objects in their container. They should test each object to determine whether it is magnetic or non-magnetic. They should categorize the objects into magnetic and non-magnetic. Here are the guide questions. First, how did you decide which materials belonged to the group that is attracted to magnets and which ones did not? Second, what are the characteristics of the objects attracted to the magnet? And third, why do you think certain materials are attracted to magnets while others are not? Next is magnets push or pull. Before we start the activity, let's make a prediction. Think about what might happen if we bring the North Pole of one magnet close to the North Pole of another magnet, or the South Pole of one magnet close to the South Pole of another magnet. Let's start! And here's the activity and you will write the prediction. First, south to south. Place two magnets 5 centimeters away with both south poles facing each other. Second, north to north. Place two magnets 5 centimeters away with both north poles facing each other. And north to south. Place two magnets 5 centimeters away with the south pole of one magnet facing the other magnet's north pole. Answer this in your notebook. Next, conduct the activities given in the table below to observe how magnets behave. Write your observations and illustrate what you observe. Use arrows to indicate if magnets pull or push each other away. Explore further by moving the objects or magnets closer or farther from each other. Let's try. South to south. Place two magnets 5 centimeters away with both south poles facing each other. Possible answer, the two magnets repel each other because, like poles, south to south, push away. Illustration, arrows showing the magnets pushing away from each other. Next is north to north. Place two magnets 5 centimeters away with both north poles facing each other. The two magnets repel each other because, like poles, north to north push away. The illustration are arrows showing the magnets pushing away from each other. Third is north to south or south to north. Place two magnets 5 centimeters away with the south pole of one magnet facing the north pole of the other magnet. The answer? The two magnets attract each other because opposite poles north-south or south-north pull together. The illustration, arrows showing the magnets pulling towards each other. And the last one, south to south. Place two magnets 5 centimeters away with both south poles facing each other. Possible answer, the two magnets repel each other because, like poles, south to south, push away. The illustration, arrows showing the magnets pushing away from each other. Video presentation. Show the class the YouTube video titled Magnets and Magnetism. Magnets video for kids to combine all lessons learned about magnets. Magnetic force. Magnets exert a force of attraction on materials containing iron, steel, nickel, or cobalt. Additionally, magnets can draw other rigid magnets closer or push them away or repel. This happens because of the magnet's two contrasting ends or poles, a north pole and a south pole. North poles are drawn to the south poles of other magnets, while they repel other north poles, and south poles exhibit similar behavior, attracting north poles and repelling other south poles. Day 4. Learners' Takeaways Anticipation Reaction Guide. Below are statements about magnets. On the column after the statements, put a check mark if you agree with the statement and an X if otherwise. Compare your answers with your previous response. Here are the statements. First, all metals are attracted to magnets. Second, magnets can lose their magnetic properties over time. Third, plastic and glass are attracted to magnets. Fourth, you can cut a magnet in half to create two separate magnets. And fifth, magnets have a single pole either north or south. Reflection on learning self-assessment. Instructions. Revisit the self-assessment checklist used at the start of this week. Ask your students to write their self-assessment ratings using the scale below in the third column of the table below. 1 star, I still need help to do this. 2 stars, I can do this by myself. 3 stars, I can do this by myself and in different ways. Here are the learning targets. This time, after learning the lesson. First, I can identify how magnets affect other objects. Second, I can identify common magnetic materials. Example, iron, steel, nickel, and non-magnetic materials. Third, I can recognize that magnets' opposite poles attract while like poles repel. And fourth, I can identify and describe key properties of magnets, such as polarity, strength, and the ability to attract certain objects. For our formative assessment, true or false? Carefully read the statements below. Write true if the statement is true. Otherwise, write false on the blank space before each number. Number 1, a magnet can attract objects if they are within the magnet's magnetic field. The answer is true. Number 2, magnets attract objects made of paper. The answer is false. Number 3, north poles of magnets are attracted to the south poles of other magnets. The answer is true. Number 4, all forces require physical contact. The answer is false. Number 5, magnets do not attract cloth. The answer is true. Second part is multiple choice. Carefully read the questions below. Choose the correct answer from the choices below each question and circle the letter corresponding to the correct answer. Number 1, which of the following materials is not attracted to a magnet? A. Glass, B. Metallic paper clip, C. Iron nail, or D. Another magnet? The answer is letter A. Glass. Number 2, what are the two poles of a magnet called? A. East pole and west pole, B. North pole and south pole, C. Red pole and blue pole, or D. Top pole and bottom pole? The answer is letter B. North pole and south pole. Number 3, which of the following materials is attracted to a magnet? A. Glass, B. Plastic, C. Iron, or D. Wood? The answer is letter C. Iron. Number 4, what will happen if two magnets are oriented as shown? A. They will attract, B. They will repel, C. Nothing will happen, or D. They will fall? The answer is letter B. They will repel. Number 5, what will happen if two magnets are oriented as shown? A. They will attract, B. They will repel, C. Nothing will happen, or D. They will fall? The answer is letter A. They will attract. And that wraps up today's lesson. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for tuning in.